What's up, you guys? Zach here from PremiumBeat.com. Today we're going to be talking about how to enhance your drone shots. These are 5 tips that I've been using nonstop with editing my drone footage. A lot of this lays in post-production rather than production. Let's talk about it. The first one is one of the most obvious ones, but it is not to cut the footage when there is those kind of weird jitters. And I have a good tutorial out there called the 3-second rule, which I recommend you guys watching. But the number one thing to keep in mind is, especially when you're operating and when you're shooting, and then most importantly when you're editing, is these sort of like jittery camera moves where the camera's mid-pan and it looks super robotic and unnatural does not flow well. At least for me, it's not aesthetically pleasing because it's unnatural, very robotic, it's not smooth or feathery, and the reason why that doesn't work is because us humans just don't do that naturally. Camera movement, performance, story, everything about movies is to try and make it emulate reality as much as possible, unless, let's say, this is coming from the eyes of a cyborg, which then that would work. So try and avoid that like robot sort of look, and your audience will like it a lot more. And this leads me into my second point, which is whenever you are operating and you're flying your drone around, let it go smooth into different areas. Don't like try and like adjust it mid-flight. Let it go out. And too many times I'll be like editing drone footage and someone will have this like really nice coast for like 2 seconds, and all of a sudden I go Pring! And then it'll frame over. Get a nice, as soon as you get a good frame, just fly it forward. Fly it just straight, fly it straight back, fly it even left to right. But pan motions, especially on the DJI models, like the lower end, like the Sparks, the Phantoms, even the Mavic line, don't have really that nice flattering movement when it comes to drones. Not too sure about the higher end ones, but if you can, just avoid the sharp pans in general. It doesn't look good. Get your shot, line it up, press record, fly. Okay, quick like bonus tip. Final little, there's like 3 others that I totally forgot to add in the other video. That's why I'm shooting these now. Couple quick ones. First one is when you're shooting your drone stuff, try and get your drone to fly near something. So that way when it's brushing past it, and by near I don't mean like people's heads or like buildings, I mean like flying past like natural objects, things like mountains, trees, rocks, that sort of thing. You can put your sensors on and that'll avoid it from hitting things. But essentially, if it flies pretty close to it, what will happen is it'll just add a little bit more depth within your shot and provide much more movement when you're shooting like these wide, vast, like granular nature shots. Granular? Grand shots. My third tip for shooting drone stuff, now we're gonna go into the editing suite, which is how to make those drone shots look really good. Some of my techniques, and this is all based off of a video that I made that I have a link in the description below, is actually just let them go. Like let the nice smooth drone shots play out. The reason why it works to have these drone shots play out a little bit longer than, let's say, your average shot is because there is so much information in them. There's so many things going on. Now, normally whenever you're editing, a shot works really well for, let's say, 3 seconds, and you're probably good to move on. But like drone shots can last for like 3 to even 10 seconds. They can really just play out because your audience is gaining so much depth. If you have a quick drone shot, sort of like this, and you're cutting through them really fast, it's a lot. It's really way too much. And a good rule of thumb, or maybe an example piece, is watching my sort of travel video that I shot just with my drone, my Mavic Air. I absolutely fell in love with it. So if you guys want to take a look at that, again, link is in the description below. My fourth one, this is something that I talked about in another PremiumBeat video, but it is not to overuse the shots. It's very easy to just plug and play these in and put them into random places because they are stunning, they're beautiful, they work for pretty much any sort of concept, any sort of part. They are literally like the best type of shot for any type of storyteller who doesn't know how to properly tell stories. And what I mean by that is they justify for anything. Like I could cut to a drone shot right now and it would make sense, kind of. Right? Like you can start, because there's so much information, right? So It's very easy to overuse them. A lot of creators do. The best way to use a drone shot is like any other tool on your toolkit as a filmmaker, is to use it in moderation. So moderately use this and it will become a dynamite tool on your tool belt. The cicada bugs. Oh my God, they're everywhere. There's so many cicadas. I don't even think I can, there's so much noise here. Helicopters, cicadas, airplanes. I'm gonna go right now. I apologize for the cicadas. My second little bonus tip for like drone coverage is getting your drone to fly backwards. Getting it to fly backwards looks really cool, and I know this might be a little scary for you when you're shooting your drone coverage. That's totally understandable. So what I would recommend is actually flying it forward and then putting your shot in reverse if you can. If it's going through like nature, if it's going even past some animals, the movement in reverse doesn't look too strange. So that's something you guys can play around with, and it makes your shots look a lot more dynamic because it's not flying through something, it's revealing something instead. The next thing, my fifth tip, I'm gonna do 6. I know I said 5, but we're doing a bonus one on top of this. My fifth tip is to utilize sound design. Sound design, it just makes your drone shots so much more organic, makes you feel so much more in it. The reason why is because when you record drones, first of all, they don't really record audio. Some of them record them from the controller, but you're getting the sound of the operator's voice, and that's not good. So it's really good to just enhance it by adding different sound elements. So for the video that I made, flies over waterfalls, I have the audio of waterfalls splashing. It's really cool because it almost adds that fantasy element, because there's no way the drone could hear, let's say, the sound of an ATV as it's flying over top, or the sound of cyclists, but it works because it makes an enhanced reality. And us audience members love anything that feels natural, like I said before, but we also love a little bit of pinch of enhancement on this sort of fantasy or fantastical magical world that we call cinema. If you guys are looking for maybe a handful of sound effects to apply to this, I recommend taking a look at the video Shutterstock made. There's like 41 sound effects that you guys can utilize to plug and play into your video. And what I would just say is don't make it super over the top, make it natural. What you see is what you should hear. And if there's something you want the audience to clue into, maybe it's pretty far away in the frame, then make that audio more present. The sixth one, which is just kind of an accumulation of different ones, is just to try hyper stylization for your drone shots. So for instance, one of them could be like the vertigo effect. There's a link in the tutorial with that. It's basically just taking a shot that moves forward through a space, scaling in, and then zooming out at the same time digitally. Okay, my final drone tip for when you're flying them is to speed up your shot. So like get them to go a lot faster in post-production. So that means like going into the edit, speeding it right up, especially let's say if you're coasting through mountains, clouds, speeding that up is not only going to make let's say the clouds move faster, but it's gonna make your shot move a lot quicker through the space. And when you're shooting like big, grand, natural landscapes, it's really difficult to show speed or to show movement when the shot is just so freaking wide. So a really good motivation is just to go in post-production, speed it up like 500 or 1,000%, and you get something that looks a lot cooler, especially if you're flying through clouds. Then it's like half time lapse, half like cloud movement speed up. It all looks super cool. Anyway, those are my bonus tips. I'm glad you got those. So instead of 5, you got like 7 tips. That's pretty good. And that is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like that video and want to take a look at some more, I highly recommend taking a look at the PremiumBeat blog post attached to this. You guys can look at all the other different articles part of that. If you want some cool music like the music that I had in my video, you guys can download that song specifically. I'll have that in the description below. Amazing track from some amazing other tracks part of PremiumBeat.com. If you have any questions or concerns regarding this tutorial, please let me know. Write that in the comments. Send me a personal message on Instagram. My handle is here or here somewhere, and you can message me via there. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Happy drone shooting. Also, drone responsibly. Don't be one of those irresponsible guys who flies his drone through a city because he thinks he's cool. Cool drone shots aren't cool if you crash it. So I'll see you guys later. I'm actually gonna fly my drone right now. Beautiful day out. How ironic. Bye.